What's more appealing than a $1 castle? A castle that's 100% free. Yep, Italy is giving away more than 100 historic castles, farmhouses, and monasteries at no cost, in an effort to breathe new life into its forgotten landmarks. The 103 total properties are scattered along 8 historical routes around the country, including over in the nearby islands of Sicily and Sardinia. There is, of course, one major condition. Anyone who moves into these buildings is required to transform them into a building tourist attraction, which would hopefully boost the country's slowing rate of rural visitors. Italy's Ministry of Tourism hopes that by transforming the outdated villas, inns, and castles into visitor centers, restaurants, or tourist hubs, the hundreds of hikers and cyclists who use the routes each year will be blessed with more opportunities for activities, and as a result, enhance the area's tourism revenues. So, how do you get your very own Winterfell, your very own Disney castle? You need to submit a proposal to the Ministry of Tourism outlining how you'd revolutionize your preferred building into a tourist attraction. Bonus points if you're an eager entrepreneur under 40. So what would your proposal be if you were to acquire the Castello de Blera in Lazio, an 11th century castle not far from Rome, or the Castello di Montefiore, a 13th century castle in the Marche region? A petting zoo? A haunted house? Let us know in the comments. Before we leave the sun-kissed Italian nation, if free castles seem like too much of a hassle, and if you can't be bothered with a business plan, the government has an alternative plan for you. That is, however, assuming you'd be willing to up your budget from €0 to €1, or about $1.19. Since January of 2016, a growing number of small rural towns in Italy have been selling villas at the symbolic €1 price point, including Ololai in Sardinia, Sambuca, and Musomoli in Sicily, Cantone alla Marche, and Zungole over in Campania. It's no secret that Europe, particularly the Western nations, can dish up extremely expensive costs of living. So the fact that you can grab the keys to Ololai's Mediterranean stone-built houses for just over $1, well, that's a screaming bargain in our books. But if they're so cheap, how come nobody's taken them yet? Because there's a pretty big catch, unfortunately. The majority of the properties in Ololai are in extreme poor condition, with the town's population hemorrhaging as a result. So, as a condition of purchase, you'd be formally required to commit to a renovation within 3 years, which would swipe at least $25,000 from your bank account. It's all part of a broader plan to revitalize the struggling community. If not for this offer, Ololai would become a ghost town lickety-split. If we hop over the Adriatic Sea and venture further east to Bulgaria, there's another property to have your name etched all over it. And yep, it's cheap as chips. In Vrastra, the largest city in northwestern Bulgaria, you'll find this nice country home. It's not crumbling, and it isn't anchored down with any significant asterisk. On the flip side, it actually boasts a fair few impressive selling points. It comes with 1,000 square meters of land, nearly 11,000 square feet, and includes its own barn, garden, and fruit trees. So how much are we talking? $2,030. Quite frankly, houses are just far more affordable over in this underrated Eastern European nation, and while it does need some renovations, the overall cost is still a sizzling deal. However, the significant drawback is location. What's the good of having a beautiful country home to yourself if there are no neighbors to share it with? It's 37 miles, or 60 kilometers away from the main area of Vrastra, which is 70 miles away from the country's capital, Sofia, which many North Americans haven't even heard of. So yeah, it's rather isolated, but if you're the type of person who relishes nature, a peaceful atmosphere, and the potential of farming, then hey, it could be time to start planning your next move to Bulgaria. If the idea of a European farmhouse seems a little too adventurous, fret not, because you can own a castle without even leaving the good old US of A. Standing on 1.5 wooded acres in the city of Manhattan, Kansas, you'll find this magnificent limestone castle. The foreboding property dates all the way back to 1932. However, it has recently been fitted with a whirl of state-of-the-art features. No more bedpans and lanterns, thankfully. The historic mansion offers 7,700 square feet of space with a total of 7 bedrooms and 7 bathrooms, with unique features like cut-stone flooring and stained glass windows. Understandably, with its modern touches and more central location, the price is a little more on the higher end of the scale. Well, compared to a free Italian castle, everything is. The Kansas home has been listed at $1.5 million, but has been treading water on the market. Unloved and unwanted. Why? Some would say that it's simply too big, and due to its stonework would require thousands of dollars a year in heating alone. So even if it were $1, buyers would be shy to commit because of the ongoing maintenance costs. We can apply exactly the same logic to the $2.2 million Weijer Castle in Belgium. This idyllic private retreat is hidden behind huge oak gates with a grand double-height entrance hall greeting visitors. As you walk through the doors, there's over 5,000 square feet of interior space to explore, packed with high ceilings, a historic fireplace, and plenty of all-purpose rooms. As you step outside, you're welcomed into a back garden which features a paved patio and a private heated pool, all part of the enormous 7-acre plot of land. A number of outbuildings come in the package too. There's a spacious garage, a private cafe, and more storage sheds than you could ask for. Despite seeming traditional, and let's be honest, a little outdated, the current residents have renovated the interior to a relatively modern standard. While it might sound appealing to snap this place up for yourself, keep in mind that it's over an hour's drive away from Brussels. So if you're after a bustling metropolis atmosphere, keep searching. Up in the Great White North, this absolutely jaw-dropping castle has been on the market for quite some time now, and despite a long list of royal amenities, it's barely received a nibble of interest from buyers. The luxury mansion sports over 50 rooms, including 8 bedrooms and 9 bathrooms, spread across 5¼ acres. It also sports a secret wine cellar, gym, spa, and 17 fireplaces, because why stop at 10? The seller? None other than NHL superstar Mario Lemieux. So why does nobody want it? Probably because it's a sinister $22 million asking price, which at the time of listing was the second most expensive home in Canada, not to mention those winters. Oh boy. The mercury around the castle in Quebec's Mont-Tremblant region can drop to a bone-chilling negative 30 degrees Celsius. That's 22 below Fahrenheit. Although credit where credit is due, on the less frostbite-inducing days, the area is renowned as a beautiful ski town and hiking area. Down by the sunny shores of California, an estate, scratch that, pretty much a residential theme park, sits over in Santa Barbara County. The former Sycamore Valley Ranch turned Neverland Ranch spans a humongous 2,700 acres and comes accompanied by a 50-seat movie theater, a dance studio, a Disney-themed railway station and train, a tennis court, a stunning swimming pool, and more greenery than you could ever imagine. On paper, it's worth close to $100 million. Despite being a unique, quiet, sizable estate with all the bells and whistles, the selling price has been continuously lowered, all the way down to a lowly $31 million, and still, buyers have been reluctant to shell out. But why? While there's nothing clearly wrong with the property itself, the hesitation stems from one clear factor: the tainted reputation of its former controversial owner, the former king of pop, Michael Jackson. Thought we were done with Italy? Ha! Not quite. In the nation's historic southeast town of Tricasse, the stunning castle of Petrarica lays dormant, waiting for one eager buyer to swoop in. The landmark has been perfectly restored and preserved, and while that's great for the history geeks out there, it means that the aesthetic remains severely outdated. As we move inside the impressive walled exterior, the main part of the castle houses 12 bedrooms and 12 bathrooms, divided across 2 floors. Just behind the colossal stone walls sits a private garden of just over 2½ acres, highlighted by an impressive infinity pool. The asking price? $4.9 million. Ouch. Even if it were free, the gardening and maintenance cost would stack up very quickly. Back on U.S. soil, if you're after a fairy tale-like log cabin, then look no further than Granite Loma. Placed elegantly on the blustery shores of Lake Michigan, this 26,000 square foot, 23-bedroom mansion is the largest of its kind in the country, boasting its own marina, plus a giant hot tub and a truly enviable garden area. It was initially listed at a whopping $40 million, but even after having that number, the response has been nothing but crickets. Even if the estate were $1, it's just so darn isolated. Green Bay, which is the closest major metropolitan area, is still 200 miles away. With minimal protection from the icy winter winds, you'd pay hundreds of thousands in heating alone. It's just far too big for any one person or family to live in, so it's no wonder that nobody wants to buy it. While not technically a castle, but certainly a penthouse worthy of royalty, Tommy Hilfiger's duplex apartment in the Plaza Hotel in New York was on the market for an astounding 11 years without a sale. Hilfiger bought the corner duplex for $25.5 million in 2008, then proceeded to put up the 6,050 square foot home back on the market for a wallet-guzzling $80 million. Wow, no wonder it didn't sell. Even as the price dropped time and time again, buyers were simply nowhere to be found. As we take a closer look, we start to see why. The penthouse was decorated with a number of unique touches. We're talking leopard print cushions, nautical and rock and roll themed bedrooms, overbearing art, and a terrace that mimics a giant chessboard. This excessive design flair was expected to attract the money-laden buyers, but instead, it repelled them.